Hello everyone, welcome back to the Books of Morgan. I'm Morgan and today I'm going to talk to you about my spring break. Now, I didn't do a whole vlog while I was on my spring break. I just have some clips that I want to share with you. When I was on my spring break, I really did try to make a conscious effort of staying away from my cell phone and really enjoying my relaxation, enjoying my book. So yeah, I'm just going to show you a few clips now. So obviously you can see I went to Florida. It is absolutely beautiful there. I got to go to the beach and I got to go by the pool, got to see a lot of plant life. I even did some kayaking in the ocean, which was super fun. Well, I guess it's the Gulf, so not technically the ocean, but still it was a lot of fun. I enjoyed my time there with my roommate. It was really fun. And I did read 2 books while I was in Florida because I had a lot of time, but also my main focus was Outlander by Diana Gabaldon, so this took up a majority of my break. And then the other book that I read was Wild at Heart by K.A. Tucker. But I'm going to talk about Wild at Heart by K.A. Tucker in my monthly wrap-up. Today, I really just want to talk to you about Outlander because I have a lot of thoughts and feelings about it, and no one cares on Instagram or Twitter or wherever, and I just need to talk about it for like a few minutes. So I did read this alongside a few of my friends who are also history majors at my university. I'm the only one who has finished this. I think one other person might have finished it, but I think I'm the only one who's like really read the whole thing. But I don't blame them. It's a long book and it does take some dedication into it. I was really worried about going into this book because I had seen the first season of Outlander like years ago when it first came out, and I was so traumatized by, I think it was the last episode, because of the sexual assault scene that does happen there. So I was very weary going into the book. I was genuinely like, I'm going to have to skip chapters. Like, I'm not going to be able to finish the book. Like, I was really concerned I wasn't going to be able to, but I heard that the book was so good and that I had to read it, and it's a beloved book. It has been for the last 30 years since it's been published, so I really did want to read Outlander. Like, I knew I would love it, but I was very concerned about the sexual assault because of how it was portrayed in the television show. And I'm just going to say right now, I think that the sexual assault in the book is completely different than it is in the TV show. I think the TV show does dramatize it a lot. I mean, obviously it's TV, but I think they really prolonged it, and that's why it was so traumatizing for me. In the book, they do talk about it. I mean, it happens, and you know, there are a few pages on it, but I skimmed through that. I even skipped a few paragraphs because I could see language that I was uncomfortable with. But having skipped those descriptions, I was still able to understand what was happening in the book and the aftermath of that sexual assault. So it really did not impede my reading enjoyment at all, and I was easily able to continue with the story and still enjoy it without reading those few paragraphs. And that's really all it is. It's a few paragraphs. It's not like this 45-minute sexual assault scene that is portrayed in the TV show. So I was very happy about that. I was like, oh my gosh, woo! Got that taken care of. Like, I don't mind if sexual assault happens in a book. It's just when it gets really descriptive, it is a huge trigger for me. So I just really like to avoid those at all costs. So yeah, that was a big concern of mine. and it was not that bad in the book. It is way worse in the TV show, I will say. And I did end up giving Outlander 5 stars. I thoroughly enjoyed my reading experience with it. I thought the writing was fantastic. So I'm a history major and I've done historical research in the past. And I was so blown away by the detail and the historical accuracies in this historical fiction book. And so I looked on Diana Gabaldon's bio on Goodreads, and I found out that she actually has a PhD, so she knows how to research. She doesn't have a PhD in history, she has a PhD in ecology. Nevertheless, it does go to show that she's a phenomenal writer, she's a great researcher, she knows what she's doing, and I was so impressed with the accuracies in that book for historical fiction. You know, most historical romances are, you know, so swept away with the la-di-da-di-da, I'm going to marry a duke, and you know, all that kind of stuff. But this book was like, seriously, so like complex politically. It was like historically like interesting. They talk about like common life things, and I'm honestly just so impressed by it. That totally blew me away. I absolutely adored that, you know, and I really appreciated the time and the research that Diana went through to create this book and the rest of the series. I thought it was awesome. I really liked the main characters. I think Claire was a super level-headed person in this book, considering the situation that she's thrown into. I mean, if you don't know what Outlander is about, it's basically a nurse from the 1940s, travels back in time to 1745, and is, you know, in Scotland, in Inverness, and meets Jamie, who is a Highlander in Scotland, and it's their romance and stuff like that. But there's also talks of like the Jacobite Rebellion, the English and Scottish dynamics and all this stuff, and the antagonist is Jack Randall, who's this horrible, horrible human being, and I hate him so much. I think he's the worst character in the entire book, but I think everyone can agree with me on that one. But yeah, I really enjoyed Outlander. I thought it was really fun. I loved the progression of Jamie and Claire's romance. I thought it was so awesome. I mean, they don't get married until like page 200, which, you know, they're married, but it really is such a progression of love, and oh, I'm just so impressed with it. It was so good, and it was so well written. Like, I truly appreciate the writing in this book. I will say there was one part in the book that I honestly almost died laughing at how corny it was. So I've never been to Scotland, but everyone knows that Loch Ness is like unequivocally Scottish. Like, if there's one thing that you can associate with Scotland, it is the Loch Ness Monster. And there's a chapter in here, chapter 19, the most unnecessary chapter in this book, called The Water Horse, where they go to Loch Ness and Claire literally sees the Loch Ness Monster. I was like, was this necessary? It did not add much to the entire plot other than someone witnessing it and calling her a witch. And then there's like a witch trial and la-di-da-di-da. But I was like, really, you had to include the Loch Ness Monster? I was like, this is so cheesy. But it did not ruin my enjoyment of the book. I mean, I thought it was funny. I don't know. If you're writing a book about Scotland, you might as well throw Nessie in there. I don't know. But it was a really good book. I keep saying that over and over again, but again, I really just enjoyed the way that Gabaldon like progressed the story. I loved like the political aspects, I loved the historical aspects, and I just like can't say enough good things about it, because there's just so much going on here, and it's, you know, I wish I could write a book that good. I mean, like, it's crazy, like, how much time she put into it, and I knew that as soon as I finished the book, I was going to want to order the sequel. So today, I actually got Dragonfly and Amber in the mail today from Amazon. As you can see, I have these full-size books, but I like the size of these books. I don't like mass market paperbacks, which is like the most common book type for this Outlander series, but I like to pay a few extra dollars for these because I can't read mass market paperbacks, and they're really floppy. Like, oh my gosh, these are good floppy books. I love it. I'm not going to read Dragonfly and Amber right away. Like, I am going to give some time. I might read it next month, or when I actually have a full-time job and don't have to worry about applying for things for after college. But I'm going to get to Dragonfly and Amber this year because I was so in love with the first book. I think Outlander is such a good book, and it is old. Like, it's 30 years old. It's a 30-year-old book, and I think it really does stand the test of time. I think you can enjoy it today just as much as you could 30 years ago. It's just so well written, and I loved it. I really did. Jamie is such a fun character. Honestly, his personality cracks me up. I think he's just he's got these like really antiquated beliefs, but Claire like really challenges him, and he loves her to death, and I mean, literally, like, he loves her to death. Like, he would do anything for her, and it's just so amazing to see that relationship and that bond grow. Like, I love Outlander. It was so good. Am I going to rewatch the first season? I don't know. I have conflicting thoughts about that. Maybe. I'm not gonna watch the finale. I'm just putting that out there. Like, it's not happening. I'm not putting myself through that again. But I will say that this Outlander is a very smutty book, and I don't think that the TV show does it justice, because I think in the TV show, like, okay, the wedding episode is very smutty and great and fantastic, and I loved it so much, but throughout the book, like, they're constantly doing it. Like, they love each other, they're attracted to each other, like, and it's hot, man. Like, it is freaking hot. And they should have included some more of that chemistry on screen, and there's just so much more chemistry and relationship development in the book than there could ever be in the TV show. So if you enjoyed the TV show, I think that you should read this book. And if you enjoyed the book and you haven't seen the TV show, honestly, I don't know if it's worth it to watch the TV show, because the book is so much better. Like, so much better. Like, okay, yes, Sam Heughan is like hot as hell, so maybe it's worth it just to see him on the screen, but no, like, if you're not interested in watching the TV show, just go ahead and read the books. They're way better. I can guarantee that. But yeah, Outlander was so good, and I'm so glad I read it over spring break. And I hope that all my friends actually finish reading it, because I want to talk to them about it. It's so good, and I have so many thoughts about it. So yeah, that is my Outlander review. It's probably way more in-depth than you were expecting, and I had a really great time in Florida. And I'll talk more about the books that I end up reading at the end of March in my wrap-up. But yeah, I'm really confident that I'll get some reading done this month. I'm really excited about my future reads and what the rest of the month has in store for me. So thank you for watching. If you want to see more videos from me, please hit that subscribe button. And if you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up, and I'll see you next time. Bye!